It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, and welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. Hey, on today's show, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which we've discussed in the past, but I think it's so supremely important that we revisit these topics again, which is how to attract more money and wealth to you faster. Now, before I take a deep dive into this subject, I just learned, literally before I got behind the microphone, that this show has been downloaded more than 1.2 million times. So we are officially a hit. And I thank you for subscribing wherever you get your podcast to Trading Stocks Made Easy around the world. I love you very much for that, and I'm glad that you find this show of value in your life. In fact, right now, why don't you subscribe to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast wherever you get your podcasts online. All right, we're going to talk about this idea of attracting more money to you faster in your life. Can you believe that all of the money that you will earn in this lifetime is based on your consciousness, what you are aware of, what you say yes to, and what you say no to? Now, I talk about this a lot at my live events because what good is the stock market if you're in the habit in your consciousness of saying no to money and wealth? Now, I can teach you how to trade your way to $1 million, but what good is that if your consciousness is saying no to money and wealth? It's two contrary messages. Yes, Tyrone, I'd love to know how the stock market works and how to fully participate in it, but I'm really not trying to get really rich because wealth is bad. You see, your consciousness, and in all of our consciousness, we're like traffic cops. Now, if you can visualize a traffic cop in the middle of the street, yes, I've talked about this before, and that traffic cop with a whistle and white gloves is usually directing traffic toward him or her or away from him or her. We do the same thing in our life when it comes to money, happiness, and success. We play this game in our consciousness where we can very often have some money and some financial success, but not all of it. Why? Well, we've been programmed, or when we're socialized, depending upon whether we came from a poor family, a working class, or a wealthy family, we're programmed, believe it or not, for financial success. And that happens in our actions and our beliefs around our family and, believe it or not, sometimes in our religion. So if you are programmed to work for a living because that's a right, pious, or high thing to do, then it makes it harder for your brain to say, I'd like to be independently wealthy. You see, we're always taught in our society to trade time for dollars, right? So the whole reason to go through grades 1 through 12 and then go to college is so you can go out and make more money than the average person who doesn't have your credentials, right? But if you want to make the maximum amount of money, you should have more of a higher education, right? Wrong. Higher education does not mean more wealth, more financial freedom in your life. If that were the case, everyone who had a PhD would be a billionaire. So that equation of time for dollars and education doesn't work. Now, don't get me wrong. I went to college. I studied psychology as a major. I was a sociology minor because I came from the creative world and I wanted to have some sort of balance between what I knew how to do creatively and stats and information and scientific models and all that. That's how my brain works. So I wanted to go to school for something that I knew I wouldn't be doing to generate money in the future. I had no interest in being a psychologist or a therapist, but I kind of dug neuroepinephrine and what went on in your brain, and I thought it was great. As I got older, I became more and more in touch with my wealth consciousness because I didn't want to have a job and just work for someone. I wanted to have extraordinary amounts of financial freedom. And what I learned in the process is I was programmed to be a working class person because that's all my family knew. So in the household that I grew up in, the biggest and greatest thing that you could do in the world was to work overtime. That's what my parents told me. Make sure you get a job where you can work overtime. Now, overtime has nothing to do with wealth and financial freedom. It's just to be able to get a little bit more out of the system than the average person. Make sure your job allowed for you to engage in overtime. When I became a student of wealth and wealth manifestation, quickly I realized that thinking was not how wealthy people thought. Most people spend their life working for money. Wealthy people put money to work for them because money is nothing more than a tool. And how you use that tool determines your success. And what determines your success? Your consciousness, your beliefs. So many people say that they love listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast because it unshackles you from limited belief systems. So here's the biggest shift that you will continue to need to nurture so that you can get wealthy faster and sooner. And it goes like this. In your life, you don't want more income. You want more residual income. You see, you want money that shows up, that comes to you, whether you are physically working or not. Some people use multi-level marketing to create residual income. Some people use real estate where they rent out houses, charge a certain amount for rent, and then the excess on that rental payment becomes a form of residual income, provided that the tenant or tenants pay you on time. In our consciousness, in our world, we use the stock market as that modality. So the biggest shift you need to have in your consciousness right now is away from trading time for dollars. Why? Here's what we know. That does not make you rich. You're able to pay your bills. You're able to pay back your student loans. You're able to make your car payment in most cases, but you will never get rich trading time for dollars. So that means while you're in a time for dollar phase, you can free yourself by learning how to trade and invest for residual income. Now, most of us are familiar with this time of COVID, where a lot of people lost their job. They had to rely on unemployment. And when that ran out, they had no income. But what I was so happy with was the amount of people who are now trading in the stock market using the wealthy investor approach. They had endless amounts of residual income depending upon the size of your trading account. So this consciousness thing is really important because the question I want to ask you is, how are you programmed to think about money? Now, what I have learned along the way is we can be reprogrammed. And as long as we start thinking about the amount of residual income that comes in our life, we are making a shift. And that's why I stop every once in a while and I do a show like this, because even if you're trading in the stock market and you're making, let's say, $5,000 a month using the wealthy investor approach, there's actually more than $5,000 a month to be made in the stock market, because when you're trading, guess what? You are not trading time for dollars. Therefore, the amount of money that you can earn is endless on a monthly basis. For some people, this is a major wake-up call. Why? Because grades 1 through 12, they've taught you all about trading time for dollars. The reason to do well in school is so that you can earn more money. Now, we know that that is a myth. So what are the things that block our consciousness? Well, sometimes it comes from our parents or primary caregivers. See, they're the ones who really tell us things like, money is the root of all evil. Have you ever heard of that? Is that true? No. Some of the richest people in the world give away a lot of money, but they don't want a press release to go out every single time they send out a lot of money. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is not the root of all evil. Intentions are the root of all evil, but that's another discussion for another time. You see, when you have money, that money can be weaponized to hurt people, or it could be used to help people. You are the one who's deciding what you're going to do with your excess cash and play that out. And that has more to do with the intention in your heart and in your mind. I always say a sense of humor is a great gift to have, right? But you can use a sense of humor to hurt people, put them down, or to uplift and inspire people. So most of life is really about your intentions. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money is not the root of all evil. It's based on your intentions that are in your heart. Now, here's another one that negatively moves money away from you, and I'm trying to help you draw more financial success towards you. And it goes like this. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, think about the messaging encompassed in that saying as it relates to your finances. So in other words, if I could easily teach you how to make $5,000 a month trading for the rest of your life, for some people, that sounds too good to be true. So therefore, they are skeptical of the message. For some of you, you can say, well, I see myself making $5,000 a month, no big deal. And then I say, well, cool. If I could teach you how to make $5,000 a month, I might as well go ahead and teach you how to make $50,000 a month. Well, wait a minute, Tyrone. $5,000 I'm willing to accept. $50,000, that sounds too good to be true. Do you know why it sounds too good to be true? Because you've been programmed for negative ideas about money. So $5,000, that's believable because in your world, that sounds realistic. $50,000, that is unrealistic. Why does that sound unrealistic? Because everything in your background says that is impossible unless you work for that money, and most people will never get to that level. That is totally untrue because I have very wealthy friends who make $50,000 a month, and it's all just part of their natural life. In fact, they feel like failures because they're only generating $50,000 a month in residual income, and they feel that they should be generating more. You see, the amount of money that you earn is based on what you believe. And if you want financial freedom quickly in a smaller period of time, do you know what you need? You need a mechanism to get there. Because your physical labor will only go but so far. Now, if you don't want to change your life and you're happy with all of your revenue and income sources, then that's fine. You are blessed beyond belief. But most people who I meet in major markets, New York, Chicago, Florida, right? They need more money and they can't necessarily physically work more to produce it. So the idea of if it sounds too good to be true, it is, that is a poor man's or poor woman's concept because that limits what is possible. Now, I know this is a show about stock market trading, but I just want to show you there's an awful lot of money to be made these days online. Why? There are people who open up Etsy stores, Pinterest pages, and eBay stores, and they resell items online. Once you learn how to do that, then you're going to match up the amount of money you're spending in advertising versus the amount of product and inventory you have, and you can easily scale, as they say online, to a six-figure business. You just have to go online and take some courses and make some mistakes and lose a little bit of money, and guess what happens? You get better. So between the stock market and the internet, those are two major income streams that are going to make millionaires in the next 2 to 5 years simply because the internet has equalized access to those residual income streams. So what are your thoughts and beliefs about money? Usually when we have negative thoughts or limited beliefs about money, guess who we hang out with? Other people who share that same belief system. So your friends are reinforcing negative ideas and negative beliefs. Therefore, they don't have wealth. And because you're so close to them, you don't have wealth. For those of you who have been trading, you ever try to explain to your friends what cover calls are and collecting of dividends and they don't have a wealth consciousness? What do you hit? Roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. One of the reasons we have money blocks in this country, in the United States, is because what? We never get a financial education. The only difference between you and someone who's earning $50,000 a month trading in the stock market right now is that they know how to do it. They've invested the time and energy in getting a financial education. So when you shift your consciousness with an open mind and you get a financial education, your external world is going to change quickly. Back in a moment.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't understand how to write covered calls for monthly income? No problem. Simply review Tyrone's latest stock trades in our video library as many times as you need. WITradeschool.com is all about helping you get the financial education you need to earn money in the stock market and change your financial life. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
So today's episode, we're really talking about getting a financial education, changing your consciousness, and maybe even reducing your exposure to people who think small. Wealthy people think big. Now, what is the key to getting a major shift in your consciousness? It is keeping an open mind. So my question to you is, are you open to receiving an additional $5,000 a month for the rest of your life in the stock market? Because if you are, the journey has begun. Now, if you're already receiving $5,000 or more in the stock market, are you open to the idea that you could be earning $50,000 a month in the stock market if you had the right financial education? Well, if you're open to the idea of $50,000 a month for the rest of your life, my question is, would you be open to the idea of $400,000 a month coming in for the rest of your life trading in the stock market? Now, I raise that dollar amount because most people are not going to reach $400,000. You probably need a $10 to $20 million trading account in order to do that. There's a way to build that account in a 2 to 5 year period using leaps and spreads, covered calls and dividends, and of course, allocation. Most people aren't ready initially to hear that if you reallocate your trading account, you know how I teach the 1/3, 1/3, just that reallocation strategically at certain times of the year will bring in more covered call income. You have to kind of start down the road of education before you realize, oh my God, if I wanted to reallocate at certain times during the year, I could reach $400,000 a month after I pay my taxes. It's a lot for most people to handle. But here's what I want you to know. Money is not the root of all evil, because when you have an open mind, you are now creating the new possibilities for your future, so long as you realize you have been duped. You have been negatively programmed to think about money, wealth, happiness, and success. What I am committed to helping you with is breaking through these negative beliefs so you can have the financial life that you want, and most importantly, the financial life that you deserve. So here's an exercise I want you to engage in the next 7 days. I want you to think about your 5 closest friends, the people who you talk to with the most regularity. Look at those 5 people, put down on a piece of paper what you think they actually earn annually. If you add up those 5 different figures into one number, divide them by 5, guess what's magically going to show up? Your income. So if you'd like to have more financial success in your life, you're going to have to change your friendships, and you're going to have to get a financial education, because your friends' energy affect financial energy in your life. It is now time in your life to up-level your consciousness so that you can make more money. Why? Not because it makes you a great human being. It's so that you can help other people in the world and be a positive force for change. So if you're just willing to do the exercise at looking at your 5 closest friends, adding their incomes up into one figure divided by 5, that's your income, I think you deserve more than that. I think you listen to this show so your consciousness and your life can change, so that you can contribute to the greater good and have the financial life that you deserve. In the Wealthy Investor Program, we use the stock market as that residual income generating mechanism. All you have to do from this moment forward is just be open to getting a greater financial education. I'm Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor. Unfortunately, that's all the time that I have for this particular episode, but fortunately, I'll see you right here next time on the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.